And welcome back to Laker Connections here on WTOP 10. Matt, we're going to move on from the spring sports back to winter for a second. 9 Oswego State women's ice hockey players were honored on Monday when the ECAC West announced its all-academic team. The Lakers included were seniors Alexa Armbrew, Alyssa Brockman, and Ashley Lyman, Erica Trushke. Juniors Olivia Ellis, Sarah Grupp, and Andrea Noss, as well as Laura Thacker were all awarded as well, and sophomore goalie Michaela DeTanto. The women's majors range from marketing to biochemistry to public justice, so a wide variety. Congratulations to all athletes recognized.
The State University of New York has honored track and field star Abigail Boyce with the 2017 SUNY Chancellor's Award for Student Success. SUNY Oswego made a video about Abigail, and here it is.
For my past 4 years at SUNY Oswego, I've definitely found myself getting involved in a lot of different aspects of the campus, including track and then 3 clubs, Women in Business, Investment Club, and Financial Management Association. By trying all these different things, I could sort of find out what I liked and what I didn't like. I found out a lot more about myself than I thought I would. So at everything that I do in those clubs and in school and on the track and stuff, I just really put all my effort into it because I don't know how to not. So I just tried to exceed at everything that I tried. So I think that's why I won this award. Oswego is definitely my top choice because it just had so many different clubs. It had the track team that I could be a part of and, do well at. And it also had my major. And then as soon as I visited the campus, you fell in love with the lake and everything like that. And then coming here and meeting different staff and seeing the people that I'd work with, I was really excited, and I'm more than happy to have chosen Oswego because of the staff and my coaches and everybody that has helped me along the way.
Abigail had yet another successful winter season, and only imagine it's going to continue to get better in the spring. But another spring sport featuring the ladies, the women's lacrosse team dropped a road contest at RIT on Saturday, 14-4. After a 17-6 throttling of Keuka College last week, the Lakers ended up on the wrong side of a similar contest, this time against the Tigers. Oswego fell behind 3-0 early, then managed to bounce back with 2 of their own to make it a 1-goal contest around the 18-minute mark of the first half. From there, it was all RIT. 4 different Lakers contributed goals, while the hosts were led by a trio of hat tricks. Laker goalie Angela Ponto made just 6 saves on 20 shots.
Oswego went from playing RIT to U of R against the Yellow Jackets. The Lakers traveled to Rochester on Monday and found themselves in a defensive battle where the match was won with shots on goal, where the Yellow Jackets doubled the Lakers' total 22-11, as well as turnovers where Oswego coughed up the ball 14 times. U of R pulled out the victory 6-3. With the loss, the Lakers fall to 2-4. They'll start SUNYAC play at Brockport on Saturday.
And moving to the courts, the men's tennis team returned to 500 with a 7-2 win over Hartwick last Wednesday in the Lakers' first home match of the spring. The team set the tone early, sweeping all 3 doubles matches, including a commanding 8-2 and 8-1 victory at second and third doubles. When the card turned to mano-a-mano, it was the host's lower seed that carried it. Seeds 3 through 6 all won in straight sets for the Lakers. The team's top 2 seeds were the only defeats of the day. John Matros, the team's number 2, was defeated in the lone 3-set match, falling 10-6 in the deciding frame.
Now after that win against Hartwick, the Lakers played in one of those games they always circle on the calendar. You see, there is no men's SUNYAC, so Oswego plays just a group of colleges across New York and Pennsylvania. One of those is St. John Fisher. The Cardinals have a great program in Rochester, and the Lakers are always motivated to try and take them down. In the past few years, we've seen improvement from 3 years ago, winning 2 of the last of the 9 matches. The following year, they took 3. The last year was a hard-fought match where Fisher pulled out the match 5-4. Saturday, Oswego had a setback, getting swept 9-0. With the loss, the Lakers fall to 3-4 on the year. They'll look to bounce back on Saturday at Hamilton. So a tough loss for the Lakers. I know how much they size up their team with how well they can compete with the Cardinals. And you can talk about they lost Alex McCarthy, their number 1 singles, to graduation last year, but this team is just they're still dealing with trying to find what's right and who should play at the right positions in the lineup.
Absolutely, because when you lose one player in tennis and it switches up that lineup, a guy that was good at 2 might not be good at 1, and you're going to have to shift up that lineup to figure out what works.
Absolutely.
Now, despite Matt's very sad tone about the men's tennis team, we still have plenty of joy to talk about in the second half of our show. Coming up after the break, we'll be joined by our athlete in studio. Stick around to find out who that is after the break. And welcome back to Laker Connections here on WTOP 10. We're going to start off, before we get to our athlete, with a little more winter news. Just can't get enough of that hockey here in Oswego. 2 men's ice hockey seniors added to their season accolades this week as defenseman Steven Johnson and forward Kenny Neal earned AHCA All-American honors spots to add to their All-SUNYAC team, which earned just a few weeks ago. Johnson was named to the East Region's first team, and Neal was named to the East third team. The blue liner led the SUNYAC in points by a defenseman, while Neal was among the nation's most prolific scorers. Once again, congratulations to our hockey teams that continue to add to their war chest. Now, we've talked about hockey. It still feels like hockey season here in Oswego, but we are joined by junior transfer Kevin Hylas. Kevin, we were just talking a little bit. You got to experience that hockey feel here in Oswego because baseball's really good, but in the winter, it's all about hockey here, and you got to experience that whiteout game. So talk about a little bit about that experience before we move on to baseball.
Yeah, well, back in my hometown, it's really not a big deal. Hockey's just never like a huge deal for where I live, but being here, seeing the environment, it was really cool. It was you just feel the thrill and on how much the students really enjoy the whole environment.
Now, first home weekend for you guys is going to be against the Cardinals. No guarantee of them getting the win there. You're going to get some revenge for us, right?
I want to. No matter what, I want to dominate. But yeah, it's a little extra incentive. It really is because you want to be behind all the athletes in the school. So anything you do to help out, you do.
Now, earlier in the show, Matt and I talked about SUNYAC play really getting going. Obviously, you guys had Fredonia down in Florida, but getting back up north, getting to play that first SUNYAC schedule. For yourself as a transfer coming in here, what have you heard about SUNYAC play from Coach Landers and the guys who have been here so far, and about what to expect in this conference?
Well, one thing that they really make sure everyone gets is you never have a win. It doesn't matter if you're the number 1 team and you're playing the bottom, you're always going to have a good game. So, coming in against Plattsburgh for our opening weekend, we know that we have to come with our A game. And if we win the first game by a lot, second game we come in thinking we just lost. So every game, you just forget what happened or you just want revenge every game. So you go in with that tenacious mindset.
And how important is that for you? Because obviously you start off at the top of the lineup. Talk about being tenacious. In this Laker lineup, with names like Eric Hamilton, John Barnes had a huge year coming off of where he was in the 6th spot, moving up in the lineup and just continuing to produce more and more. You got some guys behind you that want to make things happen. How important is it for you to get on base and be aggressive to help this team get off some big leads, especially getting into the second half of the season?
Well, it's huge because, going through my life, I've known I need to get on for certain people. And I've never had guys like Eric Hamilton or, John Barnes behind me where I know if I'm on first base, I'm scoring on a double. Or if I walk and I steal second, I'm in there a couple pitches later. So in a lineup like this, it's no use having really good hitters in the middle of your lineup if you're not going to get on in the beginning. So, with Wes leading off, that's big for us. And, we got me batting second or leading off. We have Kyle Simmons up there. So whatever you can do in the beginning of the lineup to get on and advance as many bases as you can to get those big guys up, you do. And we've been doing a good job of that so far.
Now, moving to Division III this year, what is the thing that you've most noticed about that move to playing with these guys and playing on this team? Something that you've really enjoyed or something that's been kind of like you had an adjustment to make?
No, I'm a big guy on if you're a competitor, I like playing with you. And there's not one guy on this team who doesn't just want to win. A talent is one thing, but when you want to win a game, you feel it. I know the 9-hitter, whoever's hitting our lineup, wants to win a game. So knowing that just makes you want to play as good as you can. And talent-wise, we're playing good competition, definitely. But we could take that anyone we want with our mindset.
Well, Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. That mindset to wins can be huge. Lots of wins in the last 4 years for the Lakers, but just a few more extra ones this year could be the difference between making a run to the College World Series. Kevin, good luck with the rest of your season. Good luck in New Paltz this weekend. The Lakers take on the Hawks over this upcoming weekend down in the Hudson Valley, as we said earlier. Stay tuned. After this, we'll be back to talk more about spring sports as we head to the second half of our show. You're watching Laker Connections. And we're going to keep with the theme here on Laker Connections as we open up this next segment for you by talking about some more athletes that were recognized, this week recognized by our own college. A pair of lacrosse players were selected as the Lakers of the Week this time around. Teresa Shattuck of the women's team broke her own record for assists in a game with 10 in a win over Canton last week, 17-6. From the men's side, it was freshman Kyle Bacon, who scored 5 goals in the Lakers' 2 contests last week, including his second hat-trick of the season and an 11-5 win over Keuka on Saturday that Matt mentioned earlier in the show. So once again, congratulations to those Lakers, as of all the Lakers that we've recognized tonight for their accolades within their league, nationally, and right here on campus. But moving forward, Matt, we're going to go back to the conversation we've had for most of the show. We just had Kevin Hylas from the baseball team on. Let's keep talking about these Lakers because despite the break they've had since spring break, they're still 12-4. They're still undefeated in conference with that sweep of Fredonia, and they're still looking really good, especially with the Cortland team that doesn't look as dominant they have in the past. So, Matt, what do you got to say going into this New Paltz weekend? Because you got to feel confident for this team.
I mean, confidence is it's oozing out of this team. You just talking to Kevin. Look at like he believes it, and why wouldn't you believe what he's saying? That every player on this team believes they're going to win. They want the win. They have the will to win, and they feel like they haven't earned anything. Mm-hmm. They need to go out and earn it every single day. It's the kind of stuff that Scott Landers he's an amazing coach, and he's able to implement that into his players, into his athletes, and he runs a tight ship down there at Laker Hall, and he's a business guy, but he doesn't play around. He likes to have a good team that has a lot of charisma, has a lot of camaraderie. But at the end of the day, they're about winning, and they've had some good history in the past. Going deep in the SUNYAC tournament the last few years, reaching regionals last year, which is huge. But they're not just thinking about going deep in the SUNYAC tournament. They're thinking about winning a SUNYAC championship. They're thinking about going to the World Series, and it's not like we're just saying, oh, they could go to the World Series and it's a pipe dream. This is a team that could make a World Series run.
Well, what you're talking about right there, Matt, and what Kevin mentioned is that Scott Landers is a fighter. Mm-hmm. He's a grinder. He's a bulldog. So when he has a team like the one that Kevin just described to us, that's going to go out there and fight every day. What I loved what Kevin said most, to go off of that, is that even if we win on Friday, we want to come out the first game Saturday feeling like we lost. Because that's what you have to do. I can't say it enough that when you play in league play, playing a 3-game series, that doubleheader on Saturday, it's so easy to lose one of those games, whether it's get off to a slow start, feel tired in the 3rd game, or get caught in a morning game on that 2nd day. It's so important to have that mentality. So to hear them want to fight every single day is absolutely huge. Because like we said earlier in the show, this team, if they're going to win a league title, has to come out and be one of those top 2 seeds, has to keep momentum going and be aggressive, because that's what's going to win a title.
I mean, for us, of course, for WTOP, we'd love another chance to broadcast the tournament down in Cortland, but this team wants to host the SUNYAC tournament, and it first starts with winning the games you're supposed to win, like the New Paltz. And this whole schedule change, they're going to have 2 games on Monday, solo game on Tuesday against New Paltz. Then Wednesday, they play Hamilton, day off Thursday, game against Friday, and then a double against Plattsburgh, and then a doubleheader against Plattsburgh. So you have all these games happening over a course of a week, and then you're going to continue to play. Then they're going to have the whole Plattsburgh, weekend, and then Cortland's coming up soon. So it's going to start getting really busy here in April.
And I mean, in some sports, you don't want to play those back-to-backs. You won't have to deal with that. But for this team, I feel like you want this, because when you get later in the season, especially when you're playing in that College World Series atmosphere, it's every day. You don't get these breaks. At the SUNYAC tournament, you don't get them. No. So why get used to them now? And what's amazing, what I love about this team, is its depth. You want to talk about depth. You have 3-4 stars. You have Bob Donnelly, who was a starter for the last couple of years in the rotation, being able to be a middle reliever to come in and eat up some innings. You have 1 through 9 in the lineup, plus some that can make contact every pitch. Guys are putting balls in play. Pitchers are getting ground balls. And there's no worry that I'm playing the 3rd game in 4 days. This is bad for me. Or the 4th game in 5 days, when you get the midweek games. That's going to be something that's going to be huge for this team. It's not just going to be one guy. It's going to be everybody.
Yeah, the talent is just all over the place on this team. And it's the confidence, the talent, the will to win. Talk about the depth. Mitch Kavanaugh could be the best pitcher in all of D3 baseball.
Player of the year at least.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. We're going to take a quick break here. We're going to continue on with some more Laker Connections. Stay tuned.